Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Boardmasters with me, Chris Mullins. And as some of you may be aware, I am just over a month into my self-imposed 6-month ban from buying or backing any more board games. I've managed so far; it's not been too much of a struggle. But today I wanted to look at the games that are probably going to be my biggest tests over the next few months. Obviously, you can see the names across the top, and there'll be timestamps down below if you want the spoilers, just to get the titles. But let's dive into the first one. And interestingly, really, Now or Never, uh, despite being the first game on this list, is actually the number one game on my wish list. So it's kind of counterproductive, but I think it will be the easiest one for me to resist because it's a game that's already in retail. Whilst I really, really want it, is one I've managed to resist for a number of months already. I do have Above and Below and Near and Far still sat in shrink wrap because my mind will not let me play those until I get Now or Never as well, even though there's no story connection or anything as far as I'm aware, and even the mechanics are different from game to game. So I'm very, very keen to get this one, and fingers crossed, I'm confident that I will be getting it at least for birthday or Christmas, which is after the 6 months, obviously, from now. So I can be patient on that one. And then let's go into the crowdfunding ones, which will probably be the harder tests because they are time sensitive generally. First one is Trick Shot, which again is another interesting one because I'm not a particularly big ice hockey fan. I don't watch ice hockey at all. I adore the idea of ice hockey that was given to 90s kids such as myself through the Mighty Ducks films. I absolutely adore those. And it's kind of like my attitude to ice hockey is kind of like someone watching the Rocky films, and then watching boxing. It's a very different representation of what these sports are really like. Far more entertaining, obviously, because of the mediums they're being presented in. But even so, I find myself really, really excited by Trick Shot. I've tried to buy the first edition in the past. I've looked it up, and it was tricky to get hold of in the UK. So when I saw they were doing a second edition, I was very excited, but also quite nervous. There isn't an announced date that I'm aware of, so I'm just kind of hoping that it's going to be outside of the 6 months. But the fact that it's already got a preview page doesn't fill me with confidence. But there it is, Trick Shot. On to the next one, and this one, it kind of is ridiculous, really. It shouldn't be in my list in the slightest. I shouldn't even be tempted by it. I have got Tainted Grail with a number of expansions that I haven't touched yet. I really, really want to get it. It was the next game to come off the conveyor belt for me and Chris to do a 2-player campaign on. And then, unfortunately, his work patterns changed after the COVID rules relaxed, and it's been put on the back burner. And whilst I feel like I do want to do a solo run through of it, I've got core space set up on the table with the other Chris, and then we're doing Lizard Wizard and other things on the Wednesdays. So yeah, it's still untouched with a number of expansions that God knows when I'll get round to them, and yet Awaken Realms announce a further expansion, and I'm very, very tempted. And it's kind of ridiculous because I shouldn't be tempted, because I should want to play what I've got on the table, on the shelf. But that's not always how these things work, is it? Next one is the Great Wall reprint, and Great Wall is a game we featured on the channel last year. We absolutely adore it. Gameplay is great, the art style is stunning, and I think I said in the review, one of my biggest regrets of this game is not... It was probably the one time that I've exercised restraint and not gone all in and just gone, oh yeah, the base game and stretch goals is enough for me. And it probably should be, because we haven't played all of the content in that stretch goal box. So kind of like the last one, I'm wanting expansions to a game I haven't played everything for yet. But I really, 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 really want the expansions if I can find them. Nope, doesn't want to focus on them. Well, there you get an idea of, I think, the weapons from the Black Powder expansion with the towers as well in the background. And that's the one that I really, really, really want. And the Ancient Beasts look gorgeous as well. And painfully, that campaign is live at the moment. And struggling to resist just buying those two little bits. So I'll click away before I do. Next one, Castles of Burgundy. Again, Awakened Realms. If you follow the channel, anything by Awakened Realms is hugely appealing to me. Castles of Burgundy was one that was very, very, very high on my want list for a long time. I tried to get it. It was in an Amazon Prime deal, but I missed out on it. And I've always been on the verge of buying it, largely because of how well Alex at Board Game Co speaks about the game. So then for Awakened Realms come out and announce they're doing a big deluxe remake. This is going to be an absolute must buy for me. It just depends when it's going to hit. I'm going to have to... It will be a struggle to not buy it if it launches in the next 5 months. And the same goes for the next one, Silver Coin Age of Monster Hunters. I've talked about it on the channel before. I was lucky enough to play test it May time last year, and it's a fantastic game from what I played then. I know they've improved it since. It's basically what I would want from a Witcher game, just without the official IP. It's got far more exploration. You're researching the enemies to get bonuses and things like that, and it's just, yeah, from my experience of playing it, it is a brilliant Witcher board game, minus the IP. I've been talking about it and trumpeting it for the last year, and now we get to the funny situation where a game I've been pushing for so long may launch while I'm not allowed to buy games, and I will have to skip it, but who knows. And on to the last one. We got Sleeping Gods Distant Skies. Now, I'm not actually all that fussed by Distant Skies. I don't know, for some reason the sort of plain dynamic, the art style on the box doesn't really appeal to me as such. Sleeping Gods is the first one, is a game that is second on my wish list. I've almost bought it a number of times over the past 6 months. I really, really, really want to try it. The narrative aspect really excites me. Obviously, Ryan Lorca is the designer. He's also the designer of Now or Never, Above and Below, and Near and Far. So whilst I haven't played any of his games, the promise of his games really, really appeals. And yeah, whilst the actual expansion doesn't necessarily call out to me, the ability to buy the Kickstarter version of the original game through this campaign is very, very tempting indeed. And knowing me, I would actually go and get both, because if I like Sleeping Gods, I will want Distant Skies. I mean, 333 plus VAT plus shipping is a big chunk. And thankfully, that is what's got me resisting it at the moment, because, you know, that's going to be pushing $450, which is a huge amount of money. And I've got a holiday to save for, which, as it stands for, is keeping me focused, thankfully. So at the moment, I am resisting. Fingers crossed it lasts. But those are the games that are definitely the biggest risks to me breaking my no purchase pledge at the moment. Let me know what games you're hugely excited for down below. Hopefully they're not ones on the list, because I probably don't need to be told about other awesome games that are on the way that might tempt me. But yeah, either way, thank you very much for watching. Look after yourself, stay safe, and have a good one. Bye bye now.